I did my AT talk on the Humon Hex, and basically what it is, it's a band that you can use during exercise and it will measure oxygen levels in your muscle. It was kind of targeted mostly to endurance athletes, so what they'll do is just put it around their quad and run during their workout. It can also be used for like strength training, so if you want to put it around your bicep and just lift weights, that's another way to use it. So how it works, it has LED lights that will project into the muscle, and like the oxyhemoglobin and deoxyhemoglobin in your blood will kind of absorb the infrared, and it'll like give off an accurate amount of oxygen that's in your muscles at the time. And after it measures your oxygen levels in your muscle, it'll give up like real-time training insights to your smartphone, so you'll know to keep going at a certain pace or when you're going to run out or how long you should continue to exercise. So this is just some basic ex-phys. So during exercise, blood vessels do dilate in your muscles, and this will allow more blood flow to your muscles so you can continue to exercise. And in order to keep up with the intensity of your exercise, your cardiac output is going to have to increase, so that your stroke volume, your heart rate, then your respiratory rate and depth will have to increase in order to provide enough oxygen for you to continue exercising. So hemoglobin plays a big role in exercise. It's the protein in your red blood cells that hold oxygen, and basically the cycle starts it'll enter the lungs bound to oxygen, but because there's a lot of it's bound to CO2, but because there's a lot of oxygen in your lungs, it will release CO2 and then it will bind to oxygen, and after that it'll be transported to the muscles via the vessels. And during exercise, your metabolism is really high in your muscles and your pH is low because of like the lactic acid that's being released during exercise. So because of this, the hemoglobin will bind to oxygen. No, it'll release oxygen and bind to CO2. And because of the low pH levels, this actually weakens the bind between hemoglobin and oxygen. So this is what causes it to be released. So the benefits of the Humon Hex, it'll help athletes optimize and adjust their workout. So during the workout, it'll tell them kind of to stay in a certain pace or to keep going or to increase their intensity or decrease their intensity. It also helps with injury prevention because it'll tell you when to stop exercising. Like when you're not producing enough oxygen to keep up with a certain pace that you're going at, it'll tell you when to stop, so you're not going to overexert yourself. It monitors the exact intensity of your training, so along with showing your oxygen levels in your muscle, it's going to show your heart rate and your pace. So for recovery time, like I said, it'll tell you when to stop, and it'll allow you to breathe and get in enough oxygen for your muscles to continue to exercise. And you can monitor your progress over time with this device, just because you can see if you're trying to run for a certain distance or run for a certain amount of time. You can see over time that if you're like becoming more efficient by using oxygen and increasing your VO2. So it has two workout modes. There's endurance and then there's interval. So for endurance, it's going to help you stay in the appropriate range. Like I said, it'll keep you at a certain pace, the optimal pace for you to continue running and to make your timer to make the distance you're trying to hit. For interval, this is for more like high intensity interval training. It'll tell you when to stop and when to recover, and like when you get enough oxygen to continue exercising, it'll tell you when to start again. So it's priced at $295. You can find more information about this device at humon.io. And when it comes to athletic training, I feel like it would be really useful because it'll help with, like, let's say conditioning. You're going to make sure that athletes aren't going to overexert themselves, and especially this could tie into like heat exhaustion. You don't want athletes to pass out or just do too much. But when it comes to the price, I don't see it being like massively produced for like high schools, but maybe for like big colleges that have the funding or like pro teams, they could really utilize this equipment to help with training. That's the Humon Hex.